Hello and welcome to Skeindeer Knits. My name is Ellie and I am a Norwegian living and knitting in London. Except today I am in Norway. I am visiting my hometown Trondheim to babysit the dogs that are going to be wandering behind me during the recording of this episode. They have their little toe beans or little claws that will kind of, you know, make a little sound when they hit the flooring. So that's just something we're gonna have to get used to this episode. Also, there's a lot of wind rustling outside because the weather here is awful this week. Apparently it's kind of dropped all over Europe, so that's definitely hit double here, and it kind of reminds me of why I was never an autumn person when I lived in Norway permanently. But I have lived in Norway for 7 years, and autumn in London is certainly a lot more delightful with autumn colours without being soaked every hour of every day. Anyway, you didn't come here to listen to me talk about the weather. I am Skeindeer on Instagram, so you can follow me there if you like. I am also Skeindeer Knits as a designer on Ravelry, and of course there's the Ravelry group Skeindeer Knits, which is the best place to get in touch with me, talk about my patterns, get help, engage in the community, take part in giveaways, etc. So do head over there if you haven't already. I'm very proud of my group, so I always mention that at the head of the episode. Now, what is this? If you're new to this, welcome. If you're new to this, I tend to record an hour-long episode every week from my flat in London. Say mine, I live in a flat share because it's London, nobody can afford living on their own. I just talk about knitting because I love knitting, and yeah, it's kind of like my little personal talk show. And if you're a returning viewer, Cassie welcomes you back. This is Cassie. She's more than 14 years old, and I just woke her up because she was snoring so loud, and we can't have that on the podcast, Cassie. You know, it's just kind of rude, and it's sort of implying that I'm boring. Anyway, welcome. Let's get started with things. I am currently hosting a number of knit-alongs. I'm going to try to remember them as I'm holding this little thing. I'm running a year-long knit-along where we aim to make 6 pairs of colourwork mittens for the duration of 2018. And that is coming at an end at the end of the year. To an end at the end of the year. Goodness me, been here for a week and I can't remember English. And of course there is the Cyber Mitten Club, which is running until the end of January. So there's one pattern coming out every month until the end of the year, and I'm going to give you January to finish up as well, because I did that last year and it seemed to work out pretty well. Plus, you know, people are quite busy during December, and the last pattern that's going to come out is going to be at quite a tight gauge. So that's just how that's going to work out. I have taken the opportunity while I'm here in Norway to do a photo shoot with some of the mittens. I'm not going to say which ones, but yeah, I'm quite happy with that. It's just a really nice scenery here. The autumn light is quite wonderful once it stops raining, and I really enjoy that. And I'm going to put some footage at the end of this video about just what I've done in Norway. It's all very incoherent and weird, but I thought you might want to see it. And yeah, there will be some yarn shops and, you know, the usual. So that is all the knit-alongs. If you have any more questions about the Cyber Mitten Club, you can check out previous episodes, and I'm probably going to talk about it again in future episodes. And I think next week, actually, the next pattern is going to launch, so I'll be talking about that definitely more then. But just to wrap it up, there are bundles in my Ravelry favorites for the types of yarns you can use for the mittens. Both the DK weight ones, which is for September and October, and the Sport 2 fingering weight ones, which is for November and December. So now, wrapping that up, I'm going to talk about the knitting I've done this week. Well, at least the bits that I can show you. I know it's really frustrating when I'm like, oh, I just can't show you what I've been knitting on this week. It's all super secret. Of course, some of it's secret because of the Mitten Club, some of it's secret because of publication restrictions that I can't control, and I've really just taken this week to knit on those things. It's kind of been like a get this stuff finished knitting retreat week for myself, because I've just committed to too many things, and knitting is supposed to be fun, so I'm kind of trying to maintain that. So this video is going to be quite light on the what I have knitted this week content, but I'm going to try to talk about other things. So first of all, I do have a finished object, so that's not too shabby, is it? So where did I put it? These are my kind of tits out / Perth socks, whatever you want to call them. I did start them when I was in Perth because my friend Shamika brought the yarn over for me from the States, because this was hand dyed by Nomadic Yarn, who is absolutely brilliant at self-striping yarn, and these colors are mad. So I didn't bring my sock blocker, so we're just gonna do it old school. This is one of them. So Oh goodness me, I've forgotten the name of the other dyer again, but the contrast yarn was dyed by, I think, Greta and something. I'm gonna put that on screen again. I'm so sorry, Greta and something. I'm terrible. So yeah, me and Amy of Stranded, we were just surfing through the whole festival up in Perth to try to find a appropriate contrast color to work with the yarn, and this purple seemed close enough to this slightly darker purple. And it seems to have worked out. I do have a little bit more left. I thought I'd make sure I had enough for the cuff, so I did those 2 at a time, but the rest of the socks were done one before the other, and they're done. I haven't actually tried them on. It's that a bit silly. I'm pretty sure they work. I tried them on when I was like past the heel, so I'm pretty confident. I don't know what else to say. I use 64 stitches. I have not measured the gauge on these, but I usually achieve a gauge between 32 to 34 stitches to 10 centimeters. Obviously that's when they are not stretched out, so they don't measure that wide then, but obviously it's a lot of elasticity to knit fabric, so they do fit my feet pretty well. I have a size 39 to 40 European, so if that's your size, maybe that gauge and that stitch count might help you. Using sock weight yarns, obviously. I did these toe up, but whether you do cuff down or toe up, just try the sock on as you knit and see how long you need it. I tend to assume that the heel and the toe is about 2 inches, 5 centimeters. They tend to come to a bit less than that, but I find that works out for me. I also have put in some cheeky increases for the heel, some before that are decreased after, which is actually why this took me a while to finish, because I forgot the decreases on the last leg. So the last leg was like a bit wider and shorter, and that had to be frogged, and I did it again. So they're the same now. They are super identical, which I think is kind of ridiculous that I have become someone who cares about identical self-striping socks, but I totally have. I'm just gonna have to admit it. So yeah, finished socks. I'm just spending a lot of time dangling these in front of you because I have nothing else to talk about. We're 9 minutes in. Oh dear. Cassie, do you want to come and look adorable again? This is gonna be a bore. Anyway, I think I've had a lot of episodes lately that have been very chop and just babbling and trying to get through all the things I have to say. So it's nice to do kind of a bit of a chill episode. So I have one work in progress I'm going to show you. It's not particularly thrilling, but it has replaced these vanilla socks in my Moomin bag from Kirsty's bag. So it's just another self-striping sock. This one I'm doing cuff down because it's a Regia pairfect. So I've cut off the yellow yarn and I'm knitting a rainbow. There's a bit of a knitting unrelated story behind these socks. I landed here in Norway on Friday night. There's a pretty funny story on how I got there, but that will be included in the vlog. Slightly incoherent because I slept between the 2 recordings, the way I told you the story. Anyway, I did arrive in the end, and Saturday morning my mom was going to leave for her holiday, which is why I'm here to look after the babies. And I was just browsing Instagram, and 2 of my favorite comedians are in town, which I knew because my bestie had watched them the night before and I was super jealous. And apparently they were going to perform again that night, and they posted that there were some tickets left, and me and my sister jumped on it. We got seats next to each other on the way back row, but we still had perfect view. I thought, I mean, we could have used some binoculars, I suppose, but I really enjoyed it. It was hilarious. I will say they did lose me a bit in the end, and I know my friend had the same experience, but it was a ball. Oh, they are just the funniest. If you are Norwegian or you understand Norwegian, they are called Tusvik or Tønne. They are not safe for work whatsoever. They have jokes that maybe boys who are maybe slightly preteen find hilarious. Words you being told you can't use in kindergarten because they were just like kind of rude but very childish, that kind of humor, but making it so weirdly relevant to today's debate climate. I'm not gonna get into that. I'm talking about socks, but it's weirdly intelligent and stupid all at once, and I love it. So there you go. Socks. So I knitted these socks during the comedy show. That was what I was trying to say. That was really good. I couldn't see the socks whatsoever. I didn't want to like hold them up against light because I don't want to like distract other people next to me. But yeah, it worked out really well. I got through the rib before we were going. While I knew we had booked the tickets, I just like quickly worked through it, finished the rib on the bus, started the stockinette as I was at the show and got down about here. And then I just quickly worked through the heel when I knew I had time to do that at home. And I now know I have a stockinette project to finish the foot when I am in Bergen Knitting Festival. Because I found out that I'm not going to be taking that stupid early flight alone. I'm going to be taking it with like the Trondheim knitting gang. I don't know why she reacted so much to that, but there you are. So yeah, we're going to be like super knitting. Do you mind? But yeah, we're going to be like a super knitting pre-party to the Bergen Knitting Festival. So it's good to have a stockinette project ready for that. As you can see, the heel is not perfect. Thank you, Regia. Pairfect. Just saying, it's not. It might have been perfect if I hadn't increased for the heel, but if I hadn't increased for the heel, it wouldn't be a big enough heel. So that's a trade-off I did. I take blame for not having the heel fit, though I have a feeling it wouldn't fit regardless, because I feel like I didn't increase this worth of yarn. You know, I added 6 stitches on this first row of red here. It's not usually how I do it, but that's how I did it this time. And so you can see, I can show you close up just for those of you who can read stockinette. I am decreasing it every other row, 2 stitches each decrease row here, because it's kind of like a little mini gusset, which is kind of nice. Other than that, it's the usual 64 stitches. I'm using the same needle size, so hoping to get the same gauge. I don't know if Regia is slightly finer. It seems the same thickness to me, so I'm assuming I'll get the same fit. They do seem like the same size to me. Let's see. Yeah, that's pretty bang on, I would say. Don't know much else to say. I love a good rainbow. I feel like this was a missed opportunity to get a 6-stripe rainbow with red, orange, yellow, green, blue and purple, yet they chose 2 shades of purple. There is another self-striping rainbow skein from Regia that has purple, but that hasn't got any red, so I'm like, you could have done it right, Regia. You could have made this a proper rainbow, but it's all right. I'm enjoying these. The stripes are very big though, so it's kind of easy to kind of miss that self-striping effect, because this is a big chunk of stockinette every time, so you sort of don't have that, oh, just gonna get to the next stripe, oh, just to the next stripe. I think I mostly just work through this because of the show. We'll see when I worked on the heel. I'm actually looking at my knitting and how I feel about it. You know, that's as much as I can say about stockinette socks. It's not my forte. It's just something I've needed to clear my brain space just a little bit, because there's been a lot of heavy knitting work going on behind the scenes as well. I am sorely regretting that there are some projects that I have not finished by the time I got here, because it would have been perfect to do a photo shoot down at the fjord beach. So that's annoying, but I'm thinking of some of them I might actually have ready in time for photographing when I'm home here for Christmas. So if I can find like that little half hour of daylight, then I might do that. That's a plan. But until then, I'm just gonna have to have some knitting homework back in London. Now I have a little giveaway for you guys. This is only a giveaway for those of you who are either in London or able to travel to London within fairly short notice. I have been given the opportunity to hand out 2 entry tickets to Yarnporium in London, because the Yarn in the City ladies are super generous, and yeah, they offered to for me to have a giveaway for these tickets. So there will only be one winner, and the festival is going to take place either on a Friday or, well, it's going to take place both on a Friday and a Saturday, but the winner can choose between the 2 days, and they can obviously bring a friend because they're going to win 2 tickets. So I am asking you to please do not take part in this giveaway if you can't attend. Please only participate if this is something you think, if you just had entry tickets, you would attend this. So I'm just gonna put that on Ravelry. I will start a thread in my group, and for you to enter, because I assume you will be someone who is either in London or can travel to London, therefore you have been to London, I want to hear, what is your favorite thing to do in London? Where do you like to go? What do you like to see? What do you like to do? What is your favorite place or activity or something? You can mention several things, but I mainly just need one thing. That's all you need to qualify to win. Just, yeah, tell me about it. Tell the people in the group about it, and that would be really nice. I will close the thread when I record next time, which should be in a week's time. So you have really all the time to enter until it is closed and you cannot enter. So the sooner you get in there, the better. But yeah, if you are watching this video a bit further ahead in the future and you find the thread is closed, that means you cannot enter anymore. So that's how that's going to work. Sorry you missed it if you did, but if you haven't missed it, then do go over there right now and put your entry in if you think you are likely to attend. Again, I will apologize for Miss Snork Maiden here on the floor. If you don't know, snorking is snoring in Norwegian, and I just did a terrible pun. Anyway, Cassie's snoring. She's snoring like an old man, even though she's an old little lady dog. It's almost like you can tell that all I've been doing this week is just talking to dogs. Yeah, that's a lie. My sister was here today. She just left so I could record. Though, I mean, she left because she had to go to work. I didn't throw her out. And I saw my friend yesterday, and I'm going to see another one tomorrow. And right after this, I'm going to go to meet a bunch of knitters at a knit night that I may have instigated. Just because I'm in town, I'm like, what do you mean there's no knit night? Make it happen, Mittens. So there's a knit night going on. Anyway, so now I am sure you're all expecting to watch my wonderful Norway haul. What have I bought since I got to Norway on Saturday, and today is Wednesday? I haven't bought any yarn. You don't believe me? I haven't. Honestly, there's no yarn. I didn't order anything. I haven't bought anything. I have been to yarn shops. You will see in the vlog at the end. But no, I haven't bought anything. I was this close because I have managed to resurrect this old fairy shawl that my mom's had in some attic since she was in school, and now I've digged it out again and found out it's really quite nice. It doesn't seem to have any pattern. It seems to just be something someone knitted probably half a century ago, and I have studied this shawl as much as I can and put in stitch markers everywhere and counted and measured, and I think I should be able to recreate a pattern for it. And I think if I was gonna have a first shawl pattern, that would be it. I would love for that to be a pattern. I will love to try to improve upon it, because I don't know, I'm kind of debating it because it's got only knit two togethers. It doesn't have SSKs to mirror the knit two togethers. They're all kind of knitted in the same direction, if you will. So I might change that, but I kind of want to keep it too, just to keep it authentic. I don't know, what do you think? Should I try to be nerdy and match it, or leave it as is? Certainly knit togethers are easier, but there might be some people who don't think that's proper. I will say it's all garter, so it won't be as visible regardless. Thoughts? Anyway, because of that shawl, I was this close to buy yarn so I can knit that shawl right away. But the yarn in question I can get at the Hillesvåg mill, where I'm going on Friday, and honestly, that it seems silly to buy it here when I'm going to the mill where they're making it, when I don't even have time to cast it on right away because I have this deadline knit that needs finishing. So I stayed sane and sensible and didn't buy any yarn. But I have bought something. I mean, come on, you guys know me. I have bought something, and it's knitting related, so let's get to it. I have bought buttons. I bought 8 of these, but I also bought an elastic, hoping to save the Polworth incident. I don't really want to go for an elastic, but that seems to be the majority vote. So I don't know, whatever. I bought buttons for, I don't know what this is going to be for, but 8 of these. Focus please, yes, thank you. So it's a snowflake. It's a very sort of traditional Norwegian tin button. I have had lots of people ask me if I want to design a Vinterfjell cardigan, and I've always been like, well, people can modify the sweater to be a cardigan, but I do understand that not everyone is as confident to do that. Plus, actually, if I was to rewrite the pattern to a cardigan, that would change everything. It would change where the beginning of the round starts, and so every instruction would actually change for at least the yoke, and also kind of where the waist shaping is kind of, yeah, relative to the cast on. So it might be worth doing for those who really don't want to do that kind of thinking. I don't know, I'm thinking about it, but I thought if I am going to do that, I need some winter themed buttons, and I bought a book. This is Norwegian knitting history. It's actually not a knitting book, it is a history book. There's no knitting in here whatsoever. It's just talking about, yeah, Norwegian knitting history. I have not read through this. I have very little that I can actually tell you, but oh, I love this idea. I love this whole thing, and I know the author, Ingunn Grimstad-Klepp. She's, you know, been author of lots of books that have really caught my attention, and I am so keen to have a read through this. I love historical knitting books and just history books about knitting. I do have a lot of them already, and this is right up my alley. I'll show you the back side because it shows a good selection of knitting designs, anything back from the Eskimo sweater, that's regrettably called that, to something more modern that I've seen come out in the later years. Some more traditional ski jumpers, bathing suits, lots of things. This is the Marius jumper in its earlier days, and it will talk about like how various media people have popularized certain patterns and styles and Norwegian knitting. It's pretty cool. I'm actually going to try to read the blurb in English. This is all in Norwegian. Again, sorry, it's very little I have to do with that. If I could decide, these will all be translated into English and published internationally. But yeah, but I'm going to tell you the blurb. I'm going to try to translate as I go. So, despite that half of Norwegian women knits, and closets, drawers and souvenir shops are filled with knitting clothes, there are few who know the history to the technique and the traditions. Two of the country's most knowledgeable authors within clothing and fashion, Ingunn Grimstad-Klepp and Tone Skårdal Tobiasson, take in this book the Norwegian knitting history from the small beginning on the 1600s up until today. Here the knitting's meaning for the way that we are dressed is explained, and the technique, the products, and not to mention those that have made the iconic Norwegian patterns are lifted up, highlighted. Words, translations, anyway. That's what the book is about. I love this much. I really do. I hope it's going to be, yeah, a very reflective book as well. It's going to maybe discuss some things and not just describe an outline. Maybe because I love a good little debate, but there you have me, you know, academics, kind of just how it is. I hope it's going to have a slightly academic approach, I guess is what I'm trying to say. I know I could have probably bought this at the Bergen Knitting Festival as well, because I'm pretty sure Ingunn's going to be there. The other authors might be there as well, so yeah, that's all I have to say about that book for now. I hope we're going to see it again. I always say that when I show you books and I forget to review them. Speaking of which, that Kate Davies bulk review, I mean, I guess I have to do it now because she's made another publication in print that I will have to buy. There's always something coming from her, which delights me, so we'll see that, I suppose. And yeah, the sun has come out. That's nice, because I can use some good light now, because I thought I'd show you some knitting from the archives, because there's a lot of knitting that I have made that has ended up here in Norway. Some stuff you will have seen before because I have showed you, and other things I've actually never had the opportunity to show you. So I'm going to talk a little bit about that. Fingers crossed my camera's not going to fall down of this very awkward setup, because I don't have my tripod here. First of all, you'll see a cushion in the background. This is the Voss pattern. It's from a Norwegian traditional cardigan, but I put it on a cushion because that was a pattern that Eline Oftedal had made. You can actually get this pattern in English in her book. If you're curious about any of the projects I'm going to show you now, you can find them, pretty much all of them, in my Ravelry project. I have my projects both sorted by year and by item, so if you want to find a cushion, you just click interior on the top tabs and you can find it there. I don't really have the capacity to link to every project because I have lots of stuff to get through before I go to Bergen, and hopefully get this episode out before that. So I hope that will work for you, and hopefully by doing that I can show you why it is so good to have an excellent, well organized, fairly up-to-date Ravelry project page, because it is just the best. So this cushion has had many dogs sleep on it because it's just really soft and bouncy. It is filled up with a cushion from IKEA, one of those that you can just buy plain without anything around it. And so this pattern is pretty well made for that. I think it's like a 50-50 centimeter thing. Yeah, this is the Voss pattern. I dream of having a cardigan with this print, or even a blanket would be amazing. I just absolutely love the Voss print. I'm not really from that region. Voss is outside of Bergen in western Norway. They have mainly the Voss pattern and also Fana as kind of their local traditions, whereas my region in Trøndelag has the Serbu pattern. And yeah, they're quite similar actually, Fana and Serbu, which is interesting. They got the Norwegian star on them both, which, interesting enough, is not Norwegian. But Voss is quite different. It's got the star here, which kind of took a very strange turn by kind of becoming something odd and mishmashed. I don't know what happened. Yeah, but I think this is a very interesting print, and it's quite different from all the other ones, and it's got a very nice look to it. And I love that it's pretty much always in these colors. It's a grey design, it's sort of meant to be grey. And yeah, I would love to make myself a traditional Voss cardigan. That would be fantastic. You will also notice that there will be some cases here where I'm not going to talk about the yarns I've chosen, mostly because I won't stand behind my yarn choices anymore because of some companies' business practices that I find a little bit shady. So we're not going to talk about that, because this is a happy podcast where I want to lift up those that are awesome. So I'm going to be doing that. But before we talk about awesome, let's talk about terrible. I have these socks. The reason they're terrible should be plain to see, because someone didn't know that sock yarn should be a high twist with nylon or something equivalent that's strong. I hadn't heard of that, but I wanted to make myself a pair of Marius socks in the Quick Lunch colors. And if you don't know what the Quick Lunch colors are, Quick Lunch is Norway's Kit Kat chocolate, essentially. Except every Norwegian, probably, maybe, I guess, will say that Quick Lunch is better. I think it's better too, but the flavour are pretty neck and neck. They're not that different. I would any day take a Quick Lunch over Kit Kat, but yeah, they are fairly similar, and I'm not going to get miffed that someone says they taste the same. Maybe I will. Well, I don't know. So anyway, this is the wrapping kind of colours of the Quick Lunch chocolate bar. It is red, green and yellow. It is the staple hiking chocolate bar in Norway. So I saw someone else had done this and I decided I wanted it too. But I'd also heard lots of people talk about toe-up socks. Whereas in Norway, there weren't really that many toe-up socks around. There were the Jette socks. They were the only toe-up socks I'd ever heard of, so I really tried to wrap my head around her instruction blog post from way back when, and I managed to figure it out and knit these toe-up. And it worked out, and it was really easy. And I didn't even know how to knit socks. I don't remember how I did the heel, but once I was here, it was pretty easy to just incorporate the Marius pattern on it that I had from a book. And so yeah, I kind of winged these, and I was a really beginner knitter at the time, thus the terrible yarn choice. But other than that, I'm really happy with this really hefty modification. So yeah, Quick Lunch Marius socks. Oop. Some of you will notice that you may have seen these things before, but I will not assume that everyone has like watched my podcast back to back. So that yes, there will be some things you've seen before, but I do also think there will be some things that you haven't, because I haven't been able to show all of these things before, according to my memory, which is, you know, reliable. Here's a little thing. I couldn't find its sister slash brother. There are two of this. This is my very first mitten. My very first full mitten in alpaca boucle, which is why my mom never wore it, because yes, it is quite warm. There is nothing with this rib that makes this thing stay on. Just, it doesn't stay on. And for someone who walks dogs when they go out, that is just pulling the mitten off with the leash. It's comfortable, it's really comfortable. It's got a nice fit, but yeah, the rib doesn't stay on the arm, so my mum never really used these. Plus, alpaca isn't a very durable yarn. It's not very good if you have a rope around your hand to hold the dogs. And when the 3 of them and they all pull because they're not very, very well raced, I take part of the blame for that. Yeah, these risk being worn out. I'd rather have that though than nobody wearing these. So, and I remember I was actually sat up knitting this late during the nights at Christmas because I hadn't actually had time to knit my mum anything, because this was my first year in London, and the first term had ended really badly with me ending up in hospital because of a kidney stone, and it was pretty bad. So I was in a bit of a state when I came home, and I had no Christmas presents prepared, and I should really take it easy. So all I could do was get my needles out and quickly knit these mittens for my mom. They weren't even done in time, but you know, she got them in the end. These have a sore thumb design, so it's different than the Norwegian thumb gusset. The thumb kind of stands up like this, whereas the thumb gusset kind of comes out a little bit from the front, which gives room to this little bump here. So I'm team thumb gusset, if anyone was wondering, but the sore thumb is wearable too, and it's totally fine for stockinette mitten. I think it's quite suitable there because it's got all the flexibility. It doesn't really matter so much. And earlier watchers of the podcast will remember this shawl. This, I think, was my very first encounter with hand-dyed yarns. I got someone's destashed Madeline Tosh yarn from, I think, the Loop Knit Nights, and I got 2 of these skeins, the other one's being worked into my exploration station, which is one of my many projects in the works. But this is the Trillion shawl by Martina Bem. I didn't really know much about blocking at the time, so it's not blocked. It's probably not even to gauge, to be honest. But there we are. It's got an eyelet edge that we would have been able to see clearly had someone done their blocking, but there we are. It is a high twist 100% merino. I don't know the name of the colorway because I didn't get any labels with this. I don't think. It might be on Ravelry. If it's anywhere, it's there. I gave this to my mom as a Christmas present, I think this year, because it's just been in my gift pile for a while, and I realized actually I think my mom's gonna like this. Turns out my mom just has as big of a hang up as I do with the asymmetrical shape of this, which doesn't render it unusable at all. It just means that these come at a different length when I fold it double. So when you wear it around your neck, one is gonna hang lower than the other. Doesn't matter at all, but if you are a bit like me or my mom, then yeah, that might annoy you. But it is a great pattern and a great design, like I said, by Martina Bem. It's from the Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy collection, so many of you will know about the Hitchhiker shawl already. Trillion came from the same collection, and I bought the whole collection because I was going to make them all, but you know, I only ended up making one in the end. It's a really nice kind of introduction to shawlettes, and if you have your first kind of indie dyed skein, then maybe actually, yeah, have a go at this. I thought that was a really nice, so smooth beginning to this, a nice introduction for someone who comes from a completely different tradition in knitting. And now time for a garment that I know you have seen before, because I do often take the opportunity to wear this when I am in Norway. I don't know why I haven't brought it to London. I just have a feeling I'm never going to wear it there. It is my Marius dress. Yeah, I pretty much modified this. I had never made a garment before. I did finish Kate Davies' owl sweater as I was knitting this, so this wasn't my first finished garment, but it was my first started garment. I started knitting from a skirt from a pattern that someone had made for Marius Dress, excluding the chart obviously, because you can't sell the chart unless you're Sunless or someone who's been given the rights. So I frogged the skirt because I didn't like it. It had a lot of, it's supposed to look like kind of a sort of half circle skirt or something, like a folded skirt, but it was made as an illusion with pearl stitches as triangles through. I'm not explaining this well, but I didn't like it, so I frogged it and did a proper, you know, skirt in this sort of shape. I really like it. It fits. I compared it to a lot of my skirts that I was wearing on a day-to-day basis, made sure it fit. Didn't really understand row gauge or stitch gauge, but I made it work anyway based on something sort of similar to gauge that I'd come up with. Kind of worked. And yeah, I designed a skirt, I guess, based on my measurements and my favorite skirt of the time. And then I just started in the color work. There's some color work that happens individually on the body and the sleeves, which I think is a good call, because this chart is pretty much the same for every weight you can knit the Marius pattern in. So if you're doing a GK weight or fingering weight gauge, whether it's a 22 stitch gauge or a 27, they still have all these rows as part of the yoke, which can make it a slightly deep yoke, which can reduce the mobility. So in hindsight, I will say it was a good call to leave this part of the chart to separate sleeves and body pieces. So if you're ever struggling with the Marius in that sense, then maybe that's something you can do. I would maybe suggest modifying it to be a top down in that case before you do that, so you know the length of the yoke, the depth of the yoke before you do. So there it is. Pretty happy with it otherwise. I wish I knew about short rows at the time, because I would love to raise the neckline a bit. It isn't as open as a lot of other Marius is, so that's good. I also wish I hadn't put in this weird shaping in the back. I wish I just put that on the sides. In my head I was just like, well, I really only need to change the back. The front I don't need to change, but it's like, it's a cylinder basically. It's a tube, like just put it where you can't see it. So I wish I'd done that, because it's kind of weird the way it increases on the back. It makes it kind of baggy in the back, kind of partially just because it's a yoke, and that's what yokes do. Because as I've said, I think in the last episode, the stitch count of yoke is 50-50 front and back. So if you want fewer stitches in the back, you actually as a knitter have to modify to move some stitches from the back to the front when you do the sleeve and body divide if it's top down, or add the sleeves to the body if it's bottom up. So things I have learned since I did this back in 2012. Wow, it's been some years. So yeah, first began garment, first heavily modified garment. Ended up doing kind of, I don't even know what sleeve length this is. It's just past my elbow, whatever you want to call that, 3/4 maybe. I wish I'd done them longer, but I was really sick of sleeves, so I just did them that length. And in hindsight, I should have stuck with it. I have kept the yarn, so I could just put it back on the needles, but there's just so many things I'd like to change with this if I did do it again. So I kind of just like to keep it here as one of those first things I ever did. I'm not feeling the pressure to wear it. It's nice to have as a memory that I will wear when I want to wear it, because it does fit. It's really nice actually. It's fit me when I has been at my lowest weight, and it fits me still. It wouldn't fit me if I got back to my highest weight, which let's hope I don't. Other knits you may have seen before. I gave this to my mom for Christmas this year as well, or last year technically. They are the Tallulah mitts. They are from the Mitten book, I think they're called. I don't know, the Great Mitten book or something like that. It's a Norwegian mitten book that actually has been translated into English. It's not a very traditional book, but it's a very fun book with fun mitten patterns. And I did this in Nordlys by Viking Garn, not to be confused with the Handar Viking. It's just a Norwegian commercial company that don't really have fleece from Norway, sadly. And this is just kind of a single ply sock yarn, which is kind of also unsuitable for socks, but it does have nylon. It was cool to try it in this pattern because I love how the colouring changes throughout. But if I was going to do this again, I might see if I could find some kauni yarn, you know, like a rainbow changing yarn that is rustic, because this isn't really suitable for mittens, I don't think. But it was a fun experiment to do. I really just wanted to try out this yarn and this design, and it's a beautiful design. My mom likes them, so good. And here's another gift I gave to my mom. She's wore this a lot. It is a brushed alpaca hat in the Setesdal pattern. I do believe this is one of those designed from Elina Oftedal. That's from the same book as that. I think it's called Nordic Knits or something, and it's got patterns inspired from Setesdal, Marius, Voss and Fana, if I didn't forget any. But yeah, this is well worn. It's very fluffed up. Mom wears this a lot. It does seem to fit her head really well, so that's good. It does have a folded brim, which looks pretty neat and probably keeps you very warm, I should think. Actually, it fits me really well too. So I'm like, why did I give that away? I don't know. I kind of always liked slightly like bulkier hats, so like heavier weight yarns for my hats, which I'm going to try to change. I felt very inspired to design some fingering weight hats. you know, if I can get around to it. And this is the most adorable thing I ever did. I didn't design it, but kind of. I mixed up a lot of pre-existing designs, but I modified a lot, so you could argue it's mine, but I wouldn't take credit for it. It is a Marius Dog suit. This is the smallest one I made. I made it based on measurements my mom sent me on, you know, online, because I wasn't with my dogs. I was in London when I was making this for as a Christmas present for them, because that's, you know, the kind of dog owner I am. So this is kind of, you know, for the back, over the bum, and for the front legs to go through. And it only really fits Cassie, who is sleeping right next to me here, because she is the smallest one. She's also the oldest one, but yeah, she's a lot smaller than the other ones, and this is the smallest I have made, and it's adorable. And she has used this a lot because she is so tiny and she is so old, and her fur's gotten quite thin. She gets quite cold in the winters, so yes, you snoring little old lady, you. She does actually appreciate this. She doesn't just kind of stiffen up the way Donja does and goes, there's this thing holding my entire body and it's made of fabric and I cannot move. She's just happy to stay warm, and she's adorable in it. And if I wear my dress, we're all super matchy, and yes, I have totally done that. And I have actually done this sweater twice. I do believe I have showed you before, but I can't remember where I put mine. I did one in dark purple for myself, and I did this one in blue for my mum. She's never worn this. I think she finds the armholes to sit, the underarms to sit too high up. I may not have made roll gauge with this. I think that could be the issue. This is Buttercup by Heidi Kiermaier, who is a fabulous designer and person, and yeah, I absolutely love this. This is a free pattern by Heidi Kiermaier that you can find on Ravelry. It's one of those earliest free, really interesting patterns to knit. It is supposed to be sleeveless, but I added sleeves anyway. It's supposed to be A-line, but I added waist shaping. And this was one of my first garment knits again, and I just winged it because it's top down, and when it's top down, you're the boss. Actually, I don't think I put in waist shaping on this. I did it on my sweater. This one I did for my mom. It is sadly in alpaca, which is quite difficult for both me and my mom to wear, so nobody's really wearing this, sadly. It's a top-down raglan, in case you're wondering. And yeah, it's kind of difficult to wear because the raglan, it hasn't really sagged much, which might be because of the gauge, or might just be because nobody's actually worn it. But yeah, that's the struggle with me in alpaca. I don't enjoy wearing it. There's really nowhere I want to wear it. I've tried it in shawls, but I find it really itchy, sadly. I find it too saggy and shapeless on clothing, but I love knitting with it. I really love the feeling of knitting with alpaca. I find it so smooth on my metal needles. It really just flies by. As a tight knitter, it's a breeze. So it's really annoying that I actually can't wear it, that I don't enjoy the fiber, that it doesn't fit my knitting preferences, you know, each to their own, but for me, just not a good match. It's just sad, really. So yeah, there is a purple one somewhere, but I couldn't find it in time to record this, and I do have to get out very soon. So I have saved my favorite for last, and that's kind of the reason I wanted to do this. It is a yoke I believe I finished right before I started this very podcast, and I immediately packed it away and made sure my mum had it to open for Christmas, because I didn't celebrate Christmas here that year. And yeah, she got it. She did get to choose the yarn and the pattern and colours and everything beforehand, but my mom doesn't have the best memory, so she'd kind of forgotten, so it was a nice surprise for her. She got this. This is a design by Lena Holme Samsø and Leave something, who co-wrote the book Kofteboken. I think this is from Kofteboken 2, which is the second Kofteboken. Sadly Norwegian only, but also nonetheless cardigan book series from Norway. They were just two. I was hoping for a third one. I would have loved to see a third one in like red. I would have, yeah. Anyway, the ones we have are really good, and I have enjoyed knitting several things from them already, and this is one of my favorite projects from it. The little baby cardigan that I did recently with squirrels on it came from the same book, just for reference. They recreate old cardigan patterns and sometimes make them top down or turn them into sweaters, try them out in different gauges and yarns. They do lots of interesting things with them. This one has been turned into a sweater. All the body and sleeve color work's been taken out and it's just stranded around the yoke, and it's beautiful, and it was so quick to knit, and it's turned into top down as well. So I enjoy doing that because top down is my jam. I love the shaping of this yoke. It's absolutely perfect. I think it just goes slightly up for your shoulders but not too much, curves enough that you can move your arms freely, same as this Fern and Feather Sweater by Jennifer Steinglass. So I just love that. I really applaud that, because since designing yokes I've come to realize just how hard it is. So anyway, it's just really hard, and I admire when people can make it as perfect as this, because this is gorgeous. The yarn is by Tallulah, which is sadly no longer a Norwegian yarn company. They are owned by a Norwegian company, but their yarn is not really made in Norway anymore. This is their Regia yarn, which is a mix of merino and cotton, because my mom runs hot quite a lot because of that age, you know, so I thought she could have that. She wanted that, and yeah, there's not really much shorter shaping, but it does seem to fit really well anyway. It might just be because that the neckline has just the right amount of opening. I was really into tubular bind-offs and cast-ons at the time, so I've used that all over, which looks pretty nice. Yeah, I just like this. I'm really proud of it. I kind of wish I'd made it for myself, because it's really comfortable. I'm kind of tempted to. So yeah, maybe I'll just hold it up so I have a nice little sort of photo thumbnail for the actual episode. But that's all I have to show you this week. My battery's blinking, which is kind of sad because I think I may have forgotten my charger in London. Not quite sure how I'm going to be able to video everything in Bergen. I may have to rely on my phone. I may have to just buy a charger tomorrow. I don't know. But thank you all so much for watching. I hope you'll enjoy the vlog at the end of this video. If I choose to put it in, you tell me. And I will see you for my video on Bergen Knitting Festival. Please don't forget to take part in the Yarnporium giveaway if you want to take part. If there was anything I wasn't clear about that, then please do let me know. Just to repeat, there is one winner. That winner will get 2 tickets, obviously one for themselves, one for, you know, to bring a friend. You can choose whether to attend Friday or Saturday, and the way you enter is by answering the question in my Ravelry thread that I will link to below. So that's all I have for you this week. Let's get Cassie to say goodbye. Oh baby. So do you want to say goodbye to everyone, Cassie? Yep. Okay. Thank you all so much for watching. Cassie's gonna go continue her nap now because she's really upset with me that I woke her up. So actually I think she's sleeping on me right now. So yeah, bye.